Guys, today's video is going to be super awesome. We're going to show you how to plant this huge garden spot, nearly a half an acre, with this little tool right here in 20 minutes. It kicks butt. Hope you enjoy the video. Hey there folks, this is Josh, Stoney Ridge Farmer. Welcome back to the farm. It's another beautiful day here in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains in North Carolina, and we're going to be planting our upper garden plot. So we've got two garden plots here on the farm. Today's video is going to be fun. We're going to show you a cool tool that you can use, and this is Grandpa's old Earthway seeder. So we're going to show you this cool tool in action and show you how it's a huge time saver for us planting our garden here on the farm. We'll also go through some details of what we've done to amend the soil here. We'll talk a little bit about the garden. We've got some beautiful beds raised up right here, and we're going to be planting corn and beans today. This is our corn garden and our bean garden, and this will feed us for 2 years probably. So come along and we'll learn a little bit about gardening. All right?
I ain't afraid of work. I ain't afraid of play. I ain't afraid to get the job done and do it my own damn way. I ain't afraid of life at times like this. If you mess with my freedom, I'll tell you just what you can kiss. That's right.
All right guys, it's important for you to know how we got where we got with this garden. This is the second or third year on this garden plot right here, and every year we put soil amendments down. What's a soil amendment? Well, a soil amendment could be straw, it could be manure, it could be wood chips, it could be anything to help build the soil, to put biologic material in the soil. It also could be fertilizer, it could be lime, anything to amend the soil so that it will grow better. Now, we have sent soil samples off for the soil here in the garden, and the pH is high. In other words, it's very acidic soil, so we're going to be putting down some Solucal or some lime on this garden spot so that the soil sweetens a little bit. So if you think about it, acidic soil is a bitter soil. A sweet soil is a more basic soil. So that's what we're doing. We're shooting for a pH, a neutral pH of around 7 to 7.5, something like that. We're going to be planting corn and beans here in the places that don't have much nutrient, which is on the back rows right here. You see it's a lighter color. It doesn't have all the manure and the amendments in there because it's a new spot that we tilled up. So we're going to put our beans there. Beans are a legume. A legume will pull nitrogen to the soil, and that's what we're shooting for. Corn, and this is going to be bodacious corn and also silver queen corn. We're going to try two different varieties up here this year. Corn is a heavy feeder. In other words, it requires a lot of nitrogen. It's basically a grass, and grass, like this green grass, loves nitrogen. If you just put corn down and you don't put any kind of fertilizer and your soil is no good, you're gonna have stunted corn. It's not gonna grow very good. So you've got to first, if you're starting a new garden spot, send off a soil sample and learn how much biologic material is in the soil, learn how much, what the pH is, learn what amendments you need to put into your soil so that you can build your garden. It's very, very important. Now at the end of this video, there'll be two videos you can click on, and I'll show you how we work this garden up. So we ran the rototiller over it, and we put a row bedder on it. And you can see, I'm going to walk kind of to the end of the garden here, and you can see how nice and bedded up this is. It's been like this for around a month. I took some weed killer and I went all around the garden about, I'm gonna say 5 days ago, something like that. I took an all organic weed killer. It's called Green Gobbler. I'll post a link to that at the end of the video too. But the Green Goblin, I think it's Goblin. It is a vinegar-based solution that kills off weeds, and it's an organic vinegar-based solution that kills off weeds. So it did a great job here. The garden plot is all ready to rock and roll, and we're going to be using our Earthway seeder. We'll walk over here and we'll talk about the Earthway seeder. This is my grandfather's Earthway seeder. Grandpa has been dead for 20 years and we're still using his seeder. If you don't have one of these and you're growing a garden, whether it's this big, and this is approximately about 150 by 50 garden plot. It's bigger than what most people would raise, but this is going to be for my parents, for my grandparents, for my neighbors, and for me. So we give food away. Whenever we get in a pinch, if we need something from our neighbors or our parents or our relatives or friends that we give food to, man, they just come anytime we call them. So it's super cool. It's always good to share food. So this is our Earthway seeder. I'll kind of go into detail on it. We're going to go over here on the back of the Kubota, and I'll go through all the little features of that cool tool. It works great. Again, Grandpa's been dead for 20 years and he probably used it for 10 before. So you buy this thing and it's nearly a lifetime piece of equipment for planting a small garden. Let's check it out. All right, let's first talk about the seed, okay? And I apologize, guys, I'm dirty. I've been out working, I've been building fences, I've been doing all sorts of stuff. This thing is loaded down with tools. So this is our seed, and we're planting a Blue Lake green bean. Let's just show you what they look like. This is 3 pounds of Blue Lake green beans, and it was $9. When you go into a big box store and you see that big rack of all these cool seeds, that's cool if you're going with some small garden or a specialty garden or something like that. But when it comes down to it, it's best to find or seek out a farm type store where you can buy $9. This is 3 pounds of Blue Lake green beans. I mean, you can't buy it in individual little packets that cheap. And that's what those green bean seeds are. It's gonna be a little bit windy on today's video, guys. You're gonna hear a little wind noise. Now, these are our corn seeds. I'll show you what they look like. They have a little coating on them, okay? Those are our corn seeds, and that is Silver Queen corn. And we're trying something a little different. We got 1.5 pounds of bodacious corn. It was expensive, 24 bucks, okay? We'll open this guy up too. And we're gonna put all these seeds down at the appropriate seeding rate by using the Earthway seeder. So, and this is what the bodacious looks like. It's a little bit of smaller kernel than the, drop some. A little bit of a smaller kernel than the Silver Queen right here. So this is the Earthway seeder. I'm going to show you how it works. This wheel, there's a kickstand right here. We'll raise the kickstand and pretend this is rolling along the ground, okay? Inside there, see that wheel? This is a little belt and it's turning inside. There's also a little plow point right here that digs in the ground. So this splits the ground open. The seed drops right out through here via this little wheel right here, and you're gonna see it turn now. See that thing turning? So there's a little disc in here that scoops up the seed and drops it out at the appropriate interval. I'm gonna pop this off right here. I probably have it already set up for sweet corn, and you can interchange these discs. So yep, this one says sweet corn. What that does, this little scoop rides along in there and picks up a seed and drops it in through a chute right inside of here. If you work for Earthway and you'd like to send me a new one, send me a new one. Guys, mine has a little crack in it right here and it's starting to get a little bit worn. So as much as I'd like to keep using Grandpa's Earthway seeder, I do know that this little seed bucket in here is cracking. It's been cracked for several years, but this is a stack of these Earthway seed disc, okay? And this is beets or Swiss chard. I mean, you can get them for pretty much everything. I'll post a link down the video description for you. This is cabbage and onion seed, peas and beans, so we're gonna need that. We'll sit it in the bean bag there. What we got here? Radishes, medium radish, and peas right there. So all kinds of cool stuff. That's how this works. So we'll take our disc and we'll install it. All we got to do is stick it inside here, push it in place, and it just clicks right in and it's ready to rock and roll. There's a little bit of dirt in there because this stays in the barn. There we go. So this cuts the hole, the seed drops out through there, this chain drags in behind, covers the seed, and this packs it. And you just ride it, basically push it like a bicycle. There is also a lever that comes out right here. It's a rubber band that holds that in place. This lever will set you up for your row spacing. So as you roll this along, this marks where your next row is gonna go. We don't need this today because we already have our rows all bedded up and beautiful and ready to rock and roll. Stay tuned to a future video. We're gonna show you how we set up our deer fence because deer are a huge, huge problem here in North Carolina. They're a nuisance species. They're only about this tall around here because they're so overpopulated and they will destroy this garden. We also have to put up a scarecrow, and we'll show you the scarecrow too. I've got last year's scarecrow sitting over there. If you don't put a scarecrow up, the crows or birds or squirrels or deer or whatever will come into your garden, or wild turkeys, which we have a lot of around here. They'll come into your garden, and as soon as that little corn plant sprouts up about that big, they'll pluck it out of the ground and they'll eat the seed. So it's something you got to protect your garden from, and I have found that a scarecrow works wonders. Now, with a scarecrow in your garden, this is all good food for thought for you. If you're just doing your first garden, or if you've been gardening for years, take a scarecrow, put it in your garden, but you want to put it in the middle of the garden. You want to move that scarecrow around. So if you're going to hang him on a fence post, you want to have several fence posts throughout your garden so that you can keep him moving around so that the animals don't get used to it. Deer get used to it, hawks and crows and all that stuff, they'll all get used to it. So it's something to think about for sure. Now we're going to get busy with the Earthway cedar. I'm going to put this disc in place. I'll show you exactly how it mounts up. We're going to load this dude up and we're going to plant our Blue Lake green beans first. I have way too many Blue Lake green beans for this year, so we'll take whatever's left and we'll put it in the refrigerator in the bottom drawer somewhere, and they'll keep until next year. Pretty cool. I would say for a garden spot as big as we have here, we probably only need to get about 1 pound of those seeds. So here's how this disc mounts up. All right, this one is labeled beans, small peas. We're just gonna slip this guy in here. Very simple. Drop it down to the bottom. Okay, turn it, lock it in place, and it's good to go. Ready to rock and roll. We'll load this guy up with our Blue Lake green beans. Now, there's a little line in here that says do not fill beyond this line. We just filled it a little bit beyond that line, but you want to pay attention to that because you'll make a big mess, okay? I already made a little bit of a mess spilling the beans right here, but let's go on out and we'll start digging in the garden. Now you have a setting on your Earthway cedar right here for depth, okay? So you want to pay attention to the depth of your seed and look up, Google the depth of your seed so that you know how deep to plant it. If you buy seeds in the store in those little bitty packets, then they'll tell you the exact depth to plant them. It's no big deal. You really don't have to overthink this, guys. And do you need this to plant a garden? No, you don't have to have this to plant a garden, but it really makes it a lot easier, especially with a garden plot this big. Guys, this is so very simple and so very easy. If you had to do this by hand, it would take you probably 20 minutes per row. Without doing it by hand, with this Earthway cedar, it takes you about 1.5 minutes per row. The seed bin in here will probably hold enough to do a full 150 to maybe even a 200-foot roll. So it does a great job. Let's get busy. Just go slow, take it easy, hold it steady, and cruise on out your row. It's very hard to hold the camera and do this at the same time, but I wanted to get you guys a little bit of a close-up of how it works. So the little scoopers scoop up the seed, they drop down in the hole. I'll show you what we're gonna do about the last 15 feet of this row. This is the mechanism. That wheel presses it down. You can see right in there, the seeds are dropping. It covers it up with the chain. This wheel packs it in behind you, and that little wheel spins inside and picks up your seed. So that's it. So we'll just cruise right along the tops of each one of these rows that we've bedded up, and you want to make sure that the soil is powdery. In other words, if you have a bunch of dirt clods and stuff, it's not going to work. So if you're using a plow and a disc, disc it up really good. If you're using just a plow, you're not gonna get it through there. If you're using a rototiller, then run over it. So we ran over this about 5 times with the rototiller, and we tilled in all the soil amendments that we put on last year, which was wood chips, and we also put a huge pile. That's why this area is like devoid of grass. We put a huge pile of manure out on here, probably, I don't know, 6 tons of manure or something like that. So this garden should explode with growth. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. We're gonna hit 3 rows of beans, and the rest of it's gonna be corn, and this will be enough food, again, to feed our family. I guess we probably have 35 bucks in the entire garden. It'll be enough food to feed our family, corn and beans, for the next 2 or 3 years. It's just that simple. It's just that fun. If you have any questions, post them down there in the comments. I really would love to answer any questions you might have. Guys, feel free to answer other people's questions as you learn. If you have an Earthway seeder, let me know. Tell me what you think. This is just a good time. Just good, clean living and good life. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you next time on the Stoney Ridge Farm. Please pound that like button. I got work to do. We'll see you next time. All right? Woo!
Well, come on down to the Stoney Ridge. Bring your wife and bring your kids. We're living life pure and sweet. That's the way it's supposed to be, Stoney Ridge.